This is this week's Death in Music, where all your favorite musicians are because they're all dead. I'm here with Ellie and our co-host Chicken. Sorry, I didn't mean to run over you guys, but I think everybody knows who you guys are. Come on, let's be honest.
Get it together, man.
And today we're gonna be.
Glad to be here once again.
Welcome to this week's Death in Music, the Aretha Franklin edition.
Yep, this is the Aretha Franklin episode. As you may or may not know, you probably do. She died at the age of 76 on August 16th, I believe it was.
Last week Thursday.
So yeah,
It's somewhere in here. It is the 16th, right? Yeah, the 16th.
Yeah. Last week Thursday.
Yeah, and that's a total bummer. She's the Queen of Soul. I just want to point out that we are doing our first two episodes on a royal family. We did the King of Pop, we did Prince, and now we're doing the Queen of Soul.
The Queen of Soul.
So I guess you can't start off any better than the royal family. So, it's a good hand. It's a good hand in poker. I know that.
that's a good start. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I'd want to just jump right into Aretha Franklin and talking about that, but a couple things. First, I want to mention some deaths that have affected us personally very recently, and they're both really, really depressing incidents. So, first and foremost, we want to say goodbye to Rollin Calderon Jr., who shares the same name and blood as the lead singer for Sea Serpent Tsunami. And he was, rest in peace, very much so. He was apparently hit by a car. He was cut down in his prime. He was only, I believe, 25, right? 25, 24?
24, 25 around there, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around that range. Way too early to leave a family behind. He has a 5-year-old son. I'll probably put it up somewhere on the edited episode, and definitely in the show notes. There's a GoFundMe fundraiser for Rollin Calderon, and if anyone would like to donate, we'd really appreciate that. It's a terrible tragedy.
Oh, yeah. It's at www.gofundme.com/Rollin Calderon Memorial Fund.
All that separated by dashes.
Correct.
Yep. And sadly, that's not the only death we have to talk about. It's a real bummer, but we also need to talk about Luz Herrera, another close personal friend of the band and the people in it.
Beautiful soul.
Beautiful person.
Yeah, really good person. When she died, the Facebook from the whole city blew up over her. It was really crazy to see Ulf Southgate come out and have something to say about her. And if you see her Facebook page, there's still people out there wishing condolences. It seems like she touched a lot of people's lives.
She certainly did.
Yeah. Man. Downey, Southgate, that whole area over there. She was the bartender for the Music Box before it shut down, and the Shuttle Inn, which was pretty much our home spot as a band. That's where we got our start. We met her pretty much outside of there, but she was our connect to there, and she became more than somebody who just booked us at her bar. She became a close friend and somebody we all grew to love. And
definitely,
it sucks. It hurt to hear the news. Man, I passed out at that bar numerous times.
She always took care of us.
Took care of us, man.
in every sense of the phrase.
Yeah.
She was a beautiful soul. I didn't know her for that long. I knew her for about 3 years, if any.
The amount of time that you were our manager.
Yeah, I was their manager for the band, and she was just a beautiful soul. There's no other words to explain it. But Luz, wherever you are,
this one's for you, Lucy Luz.
We'll certainly see you again.
Yeah,
that's one thing I know for certain.
Yeah, one last thing I think we forgot to mention about her. Sadly, she was taken down by cancer. She had stage 4 lung cancer the last time I had heard. So she'd been fighting that illness for a while, and it's really sad. It's really depressing, and I think I don't see any way to contribute to her or her family directly, but I'll keep looking and see. But if failing that, maybe donate to some cancer charities in her name or something. That's all I can think of.
Head to the Shuttle Inn if you can. That's down.
Shuttle Inn.
And I'm pretty sure they'll have some information right there. They had a memorial on this past Saturday. I know they had a little get together. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make it, but yeah, I'm try to reach out to what was his name, Richard,
the bar owner, really nice guy as well. Always took care of Luz. Always took care of us as well, same as Luz did. It's a very, very, very unfortunate loss, and I'm pretty sure I could speak for everyone that it took us pretty hard.
Oh yeah,
very, very hard.
Yeah, it's depressing.
One thing. I try not to live with fears, but I saw one of my biggest fears realized the day Luz passed away, and it is not being able to say goodbye.
Oh yeah, that's true, man. And I think that happens in the majority of times. You lose someone, you don't get the chance to say goodbye, and it's important to value people while they're here. It's just a reminder that life is so valuable.
Exactly.
Correct.
So wherever Luz is, I know she'll be taking care of us now.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully she's looking down on us and
She has for the past 3 years that I've known her, and eternity before that to her loved ones.
Right.
Yeah, so, she's a great person, and we wish her to rest in peace.
Definitely.
Yeah. So moving on from all that sadness, I'll try to get back to some of the matters at hand here. And so we had just gone through our introductions, and me and Ellie, if you don't already know, if I didn't mention it in a couple other episodes, we were in a band together. And I was a keyboardist, and Ellie played the drums, and Chicken was pretty much in that band too. So I just want to introduce Chicken. Chicken was a real deal, actually. He was the manager.
He was the manager. Very short-lived, may I say, but
yeah, he embezzled all the money out of the band, and so
the memories I will never get back. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's been in my music career for about like 10 years.
Yes, sir. And I'm married to his sister. Just wanted to put that out there.
That's how much he likes your music. He just had to marry into the family.
He had to get in there somehow. I kept saying no.
Man, that's the ultimate roadie, dude.
There you go.
All right, so and since you're basically a newcomer right now on the show,
Mazzy says hello, Chicken.
And hey Mazzy, you don't say hi to me though. Okay.
Feels like
you know
what? You know what, Chicken? You just want to host the show. Let Chicken do it. Make this the Chicken and Ellie show.
Hey, that has a nice ring to it, Robert.
Yeah, it doesn't sound so bad, actually. Yeah, because you know what? One of the guys always needs to have a wacky name. You know what I mean? Like Robert and Ellie, it's nothing. But Chicken and Ellie, it sounds like a good morning show.
Chicken and Ellie.
It low-key sounds like a very good plate at a southern restaurant.
So let's talk a little bit about Aretha Franklin, guys. Let's go into the life and times of Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, the Queen of motherfucking Soul.
The first woman to ever get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Also the first woman to ever chart on the billboards more than 100 times.
18 Grammys.
Damn. Voted by Rolling Stone as the best singer of all time in the list of singers. Which
I doubt it.
Yeah, and there's a story about that too. That I don't mean to blow my wad too soon with this one, but she in one of the Grammy performances, I want to say it was in '98, she had to fill in for a sick Luciano Pavarotti. And when you can fill in for Pavarotti, and you know the song he's singing, she already knew it's an opera piece, and she knew it already. It was already one of her favorite songs to sing, and one of the only people who could do it justice. And it just so happens, it's like you have all the best musicians in one room, I guess, or in one place. It's like, hey, can you fill in for Pavarotti? It's like, that's crazy.
I did look up some of her early stuff. It's known stuff, but she was a big member of the civil rights movement, kind of behind the scenes though.
Yeah,
she funded a lot of that stuff. She played a lot of free concerts.
Yeah.
She funded it. She would let them stay at her house in Detroit. Her father was a pastor, the New Bethel Baptist Church, and he's the one that organized the famous Walk to Freedom with Dr. Martin Luther King, where he delivered an early version of his "I Have a Dream" speech. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool, because she was about like 16 at this time.
That's one of the things about her. She was getting started so early in her life. She was basically so her mother died when she was really young. Her mother died when she was like 10, And on the heels of that, her father basically forces her to sing gospel music. She was very shy, she said. She didn't want to sing in front of this huge audience. But her dad more or less forced her into it. And what a good decision that was.
Well, yeah, she's also a self-taught pianist.
Oh, man, yeah. She's like nearly virtuoso. Like, when you hear her, she plays sick jazz piano. And she taught herself. Her mother also was a talented pianist. So I guess it runs in the family, as always. Just like the last two artists we talked about, it runs in the family. And she taught herself. She taught herself to play by ear, just doing her own thing as a really young age.
So technically, we have another Michael Jackson.
Another prodigy.
Another prodigy, correct.
So, I don't 100% agree with the methods used by the parents, but. Yet again, I'm not a parent.
It seems to help.
Yeah. Well, they say her dad was not quite Joe Jackson, but her dad had a streak of that pushing your kid into playing an instrument or being into jazz and being into pop. He said pop, R&B, gospel. It was all one music. It was all like one voice of God. So he thought it was great to get his daughter into worshiping with music.
Voice of God.
Yeah. And Aretha Franklin definitely channels the voice of God.
Yeah, man. I think the most interesting thing I found out about her, because I knew her music. I knew a lot of her music, but I don't know. I didn't know anything about her, and she was also. She also pretty much bailed Angela Davis out of prison after she was charged for terrorism.
Oh, geez.
So I remember that. Angela Davis was charged for terrorism by I think Richard Nixon, saying that she was responsible for the arms that were used in the prison takeover that left 4 people dead. And
she's what, a civil rights activist? I feel ignorant for not knowing that.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, correct.
Wow.
So she publicly offered the $250,000 to bail her out of jail.
Yeah.
And her response was, I'm going to see her free if there is any justice in our courts, not because I believe in communism, because Angela Davis was a known communist, but because she's a black woman and she wants freedom for black people.
Yeah.
I have the money. I got it from black people. They've made me financially able to have it, and I want to use it in any ways that will help out our people.
Wow. So she gave back to her community, which is...
Yeah, 100%.
That's 100%. Great.
She knew where her income came from, who was there for her, and what her platform was for other people.
Yeah.
For other people in her community, correct.
Just a quick aside from the chat, forcing your kids to play music is a grand tradition that makes great musicians miserable people, like Beethoven and Mozart.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. My dad put into my head that it's such a good idea to be a musician. He put that in my head at a young age that it became a core tenet in my life. He said, if you become a musician, you're going to have to do no work and people will just throw their money at you. It's like it's the easiest job in the world. And he was totally fucking wrong.
Where we at, bro?
Dude, it's hard to be a musician. It's extremely competitive, and there's always people out there who will outdo you because they're working harder, and there's better musicians than you. And it's one of those industries like being in film that can spit you up and chew you out. I think I honestly think so.
Yeah, it's the industry. In anything in the arts, it's a breaking industry.
Yeah.
You gotta have thick skin, or like the PK model, go hard or go home.
Yeah, that's true. I believe in that. Getting back to Aretha and her civil rights background, she knew Martin Luther King. That's a relatively unknown thing. I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I started researching her. That she was her and her father were basically friends of Martin Luther King and toured with Martin Luther King and put on shows with and for Martin Luther King. And I feel like you automatically have to say that she's a good person. Like she's really humble about it. In interviews, she says that she has no idea. She had no idea she was making a difference. She was just doing what she loved. But I think she's being humble, to be honest.
Well, her song "Respect" is pretty much a staple of the civil rights movement.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was the one song that really empowered people through the whole civil rights movement. So that's one of her biggest songs, and that's one of the songs that's always linked to civil rights activity in that time in the early 70s, late 60s.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And
sure, like she was of course famous beyond belief, right? And she used her fame, and I have always expressed how much fame is as power you have in your hands, and she used it towards good for a good cause, and it's something that for whoever's watching, always do good,
pass it on.
Pass it on. If you have the ability to do good today, and even if you're not going to tomorrow, you have do it for yourself. Don't do it for anyone else. And she did it for herself, I'm pretty sure, and she did it for everybody else. And that for me is a great artist. Someone who has the power to make a change.
Yeah, a lot of artists get successful and they go, "Fuck you, I got mine," and that story is actually more common, which is sad. So you see someone who gives back, and then you always notice it.
Wait, like that cocksucker Sting.
Hey,
what about Bono? Bono gives back. Bono gives back all the fucking time, and I still hate him.
I don't know.
Kill him, man.
Bono, he gives back, but I don't know about Bono. Like, I feel like he does everything for recognition.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, dude.
I don't know if you heard, but back a few years ago, he had automatically gifted his new album, the new U2 album, to
that came up on our very first cut of the podcast.
The most hated person in the world for giving something for free,
That's what made him the most hated, because it was obligatedly put into your fucking iTunes library.
I woke up and it was on my iPhone. I remember what the fuck is this doing here? I was mad. I'm like, I don't want any U2 shit in here.
It's funny that he was the most hated man for the year
for giving something away.
Free, all you have to do, don't hate. All you have to do is delete the freaking music, That's all.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have had to. If I wanted to destroy U2 albums, I'd go to the record store, and I have.
You have to buy them, so you're supporting them.
So you support them at the same time. It's a fucked up circle of it.
For a different cause, though,
All right, so okay, one more comment from the chat. Easiest job in the world is being born fucking rich, but that's not technically a job. So
yeah.
So you lose points, Mazzy. And I'm keeping tabs, by the way. I'm keeping tabs on everyone's point in the chat, so everyone be on their best behavior.
Hey, when you rack up some good points, you get some free merch.
That's true. Like a mustache comb or like a scrunchie.
You got free merch from
free merch.
But Aretha Franklin, RESPECT. We touched on Respect. Respect is a cover,
some
which
respect on the name.
Yeah, dude, some RESPECT. Sock it to me. But that's a cover, which that's another thing I learned in research. I mean, everyone knows it's her signature song. I mean, but I didn't know she had taken that song from someone else. It's pretty boring.
It's just pretty much like a small bite, though, isn't it? It's not a full song by Otis Redding.
It's smaller. It's not dragged out as much, and that like spelling the RESPECT thing. That's all her.
It's just a wee bit.
This is a pretty great song. Every song by Aretha Franklin is pretty great. I mean, she's had some flopped albums, but I guarantee if you listen to those albums, you'll still be impressed. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, there's at least one piece of gold in there.
Yeah. So she had a kid at 12. She had her first kid at 12.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. And then she had her next kid at 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then still managed to move on to be one of the most
greatest soul singers of all time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That just goes to show, man. You can do anything you put your. I don't want to get too philosophical or anything, but
please tell us more.
You can do whatever you want, man. If you put your mind to it,
you can do it. Put your back into it, baby.
Put your back into it.
I think it goes to show you that if you have kids out of wedlock, it makes you more successful. So Everyone just start getting to fucking. Just get out there.
I'll see you guys next episode.
Her dad pretty much more or less pushed her into that, started touring with her, and was able to actually set her up with her first album at the age of, I don't know what it is, I want to say 16, 12?
16, from what I know, like, I mean, she was, what, 76 when she passed away?
76, yeah.
Yeah, and her trajectory was a 6-decade span, so... You know, so that's 16 is when she gets her start, like her official start. I mean, she's been singing since like the age of like 10, I'm guessing, in gospel and everything.
Right.
But professional career, I think, starts at 16.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing. This is where it gets crazy. She's already cut her first album by then, but it's an album of gospel music, which of course doesn't perform as well, but. You have guys like Sam Cooke, who performed in the Soul Stirrers, which is a gospel group, and also seen some level of success and toured with her in the same kind of right. So,
hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned Sam Cooke, my bad to cut you off. Have you ever looked into his death?
No, I don't really actually know the full story about Sam Cooke's death.
It's a fucking trip, man.
Is there a conspiracy afoot?
Yeah, there's a couple conspiracies behind his death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's something we'll get into next episode or in future episodes.
Well, her first real technical album is Aretha with the Ray Bryant combo.
It is Colombian, correct.
So, yeah, then so she breaks out a bit there. At this time, she's already at this age at like, we're talking like, what, 18? She's already at this age, making her way onto like the R&B Billboard charts.
The pop, yeah.
Yeah, pop and R&B. She's already charting. She basically cuts her first real studio pop album and starts charting. Amazing. She's basically already accomplished at that age. I mean, I never fucking charted anywhere. The idea of doing it at 18 on the heels of your first gospel album, that's something.
That's insane. That's insane.
But I'm sure her voice though and her playing piano preceded her though, because the first live performances I've ever seen of her playing piano, she's very talented. She's already like a master at the instrument. Like
self-taught.
Yeah, it must have been all she did, dude.
Yeah.
Like it shows. She's just either that or she just has the brain for it.
But I mean, the majority of us are self-taught, are we not?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Robert said not on that level, but
no, dude. I mean, I tried, but I can't be a virtuoso like in 7 years like that. So yeah, so she was very interested in Sam Cooke in more ways than one. You know, there's been rumors about her interest in Sam Cooke.
Little funny business between Sam Cooke and Aretha.
I suspect. I mean,
from what I know about him, he was quite the ladies' man.
Yeah, and so was her dad. So she was with a few men who were like not the best for her. Her first husband was, by like a whole bunch of reports, like domestically abusive.
Correct.
How do you abuse like? In my head, I couldn't imagine abusing like a legendary celebrity.
I think it might have stemmed from the fact that she was somebody or she was on the way to be somebody, and her ego was not ego, because from what I've read about her, she's pretty humble.
Yeah.
But just like aura, her spirit was so much greater that, you know, that might have fucked with whoever she was with at that time.
Probably, because
try to tear her down, but
I mean, especially if you think about like the decade.
Mm-hmm.
Like her first marriage, I think, is in like the 70s or the 60s. So it's like, you know, men of that era were different kinds of men. More shit was allowed back then.
Yeah.
People look the other way on shit like that a little more.
If you think about it too, you know, it's never okay to abuse women, of course.
No.
But do you guys think that she would have been who she was if she hadn't gone through such a tough time in her life?
I think hardships and like rough shit is what makes the best artists.
Exactly. So, you know, unfortunately, the way it came to her, it was very, very unfortunate. But something once again, it's never okay to abuse women in any way, but
it was for the best in this case.
in a way, I think so.
It's the Joe Jackson element. She was abused into greatness.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say we had mentioned that on the last podcast. It didn't make it to the recording because we were short on time, but we had mentioned about how you kind of don't become a great artist unless you've gone through this huge amount of pain. And I wasn't sure if that was necessarily true, but now that we've done Michael Jackson, we've done Prince, we've done Aretha, there's a common thread about not just doing it since you were a child, but also going through like a turbulent life.
Yeah, it's you know how we got those pretty much like calling cards for serial killers, where it's like they abuse kids, they've been abused as kids, and
there's red flags.
You've been abused by a kid, you've been abused as a kid, and you become a serial killer, or you become one of the greatest fucking
musicians.
Musicians or
artists of some kind.
Artists in general.
Yeah. So, speaking of turbulence, Aretha Franklin is deathly afraid of planes. She encountered turbulence on one of her tours to outside the country, or back from being outside the country. I believe
that's why she stopped touring out, right?
Yeah, she stopped touring. I think it was in the late 70s or early 80s.
Yeah, and it was just all like national touring only.
Yeah. But yeah, in the next episode, I'm gonna torture myself until I become a great musician. That's John's advice. I'm down.
I hope so.
Wait,
you're Chicken.
I'm John.
You're Chicken.
Okay, who's
Oh,
John?
there's two Johns. Holy shit! Yeah, because Chicken is John and Mazzy Char is John.
Oh, what's up, John?
And Johns represent.
Let's hit the message board real quick, and to Liz, we will not do any Elvis shit. Maybe anytime soon, because I don't respect him as much as I respect Chuck Berry. So I'm gonna push him aside from Chuck Berry and Otis Redding, every other artist from that era that's not Elvis.
Yeah, we really should put people in an order. Like I would like to do Chuck Berry before Elvis.
Yeah, Johnny Cash before Elvis too.
Yeah, and we gotta wait till the best Beatle, Ringo, dies so we can do him first. That's just common knowledge.
All right, then you guys. Well, I think I didn't really say much this episode. I don't really know much about Aretha Franklin, and to be honest with you, I didn't do any research.
Oh,
I'm
man.
just as unprepared as Robert.
Maybe even slightly more.
Maybe so. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys get to it. I really appreciate your time. I will definitely come back when you guys do somebody that I know.
Oh man, so it's the Aretha driving you off, huh, man?
I'm always glad to be here. I'll see you on next episode when I'm here. Thanks for tuning in.
His name is Mazzy, bro.
No, this is John. We already established the friendship.
Mazzy, bro.
We already established the friendship, so you know.
Well, we already got a John. We don't need another one. So, if you'll just ever so kindly.
I didn't hear you.
Nothing.
I hate you, Robert. But anyway, good to see you, Robert.
It was good to see you, man. Thanks for making it.
We'll see you guys next time.
All right, man.
Good to see you, dude.
I'll see you later.
So, 1960s, during a performance at the Regal Theater, that's where the first time someone crowned her Queen of Soul, and it's stuck ever since. So by the mid-1960s, Aretha Franklin was already netting $100,000 from countless performances at nightclubs and theaters. She was already making $100,000 and that's in 1960s money.
That's a lot of movies.
That's real fucking money. That's like millions in today's money. Yeah, so it was charting on several different charts at a time: R&B, easy listening, pop. Franklin had her third child in 1964. I don't know how old she is then, but
one of her kids has played like guitar for her, hasn't he?
Yeah, one of her kids played guitar for her, and I think one of her kids managed her. Like, it's a family affair with the Franklin family. They are a musical family, and they got each other's backs.
That's pretty badass.
And unless you believe this David Ritz shit, where he says David Ritz is an author who. Okay, so let me give some backstory on this. That there's this author David Ritz who basically ghost wrote a biography for Aretha Franklin, and he felt kind of stifled by the stuff he was able to publish about her. She really didn't want him to publish anything the least bit that painted her in a negative light, or anything the least bit negative. And actually, he was actually really upset about it, because he's a well-respected biographer who really gets to the meat of like musicians. He really wants to put out meaningful content. And so like 10 or 20 years later, he put out the book he actually wanted to put out, and she was furious because it painted her father in a bad light, said he was like a philanderer who would like have orgies with women at the church, and that she was exposed to sex at too early of an age, and all this stuff where all he's really doing is talking about the trueness of her gritty past. And your fans love that kind of shit, so he's just giving the people what they want, really. He's a rock and roll biographer, that's what you expect. And they had a big falling out about that. She didn't want anything negative in her original biography, and he published a later one. And so that was all just a long way to get back to the point that her sisters said she was like a cock block on their careers, that she stood ahead of them getting further in their careers, because she either wanted to keep them or not wanted them to get ahead of her. But take that with a grain of salt, because I mean, she's Aretha Franklin. I mean, who really competes with Aretha Franklin?
I mean, maybe that's how they see it, and I'm thinking that when you start becoming that type of person, kind of like you become bigger than yourself type stuff. You might want to have family as close as possible to keep you centered and level.
Yeah, for sure.
I think something we saw that like, in other words, like with Michael Jackson, right? It seemed like at a point he kind of backed himself away from his family, because it seemed like all they wanted to do was mooch off him. Not all of them.
Yeah, definitely Joe Jackson.
Exactly. And it's just kind of like, she had her sons, and her sons were part of her rock, and I'm guessing she tried to have her sisters, to back her.
Yeah, they sang backup and stuff. Yeah,
maybe that's how they feel. But seeing what I've seen, what I've read about this lady, I don't think that was her ultimate goal, to keep anybody like fuck them, they can't be better than me type shit.
She doesn't seem like the type. But she does have that diva reputation. But at the same time, anytime I ever see her live, or like give an interview, she's like exceedingly humble. She doesn't seem to think particularly like, she doesn't seem to see herself as where she, like, her true value in music. She doesn't seem to see herself as the Queen of Soul. She seems to see herself as any other musician. Like that's the aura I seem to see her hold herself with, which is surprising considering how she's probably the best. She's one of the best. It's crazy. Like, usually you would expect a little bit of arrogance to seep in, but I don't know her behind the scenes, so it's all speculation.
Correct.
Oh yes. So let's see. In '96, she moved over to Atlantic Records. She moved over to Atlantic Records because she thought Columbia wasn't giving her fair shake. And to some degree that's true, because she saw way more success with Atlantic Records, and some of her best music came out of Atlantic Records compared to Columbia. Let's see.
I got something. In her whole career, she was only in one movie.
That's right, The Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers.
Right.
Yeah. She with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, the great late John Belushi, man.
I wanted to watch that movie in preparation for this, because I saw a bunch of scenes on YouTube of the artists they had in it and the scenes they had in it, and I'm like, this looks like the best movie ever made. Is it a good movie? Is it as good as it looks?
I haven't seen it in so many years, but my mom loves it, and she made me watch it as a kid. I remember snippets of it.
And
she plays the wife of
what, a bassist? No, like they're coming. They need to find a bassist, I think.
The lead guitarist.
Guitarist, that's what it is.
Yeah, and she said that she had a good time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dan Aykroyd and Belushi were just great guys to be around.
I believe it. If anyone would be.
Professionals. There was a lot of fucking coke in those days, and we know what Belushi was up to in those days.
Yeah, John Belushi was 90% cocaine.
He's a fucking party animal, man.
Yeah.
The original Animal House, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's pretty cool though, because 60 years in only one movie, and that movie happens to be the Blues Brothers. You know, like a soulful ass movie.
Yeah, but John's got a good point. Blues Brothers is good, but it's got nothing on Blues Brothers 2000. You know?
Hey, you gotta say a little prayer on there on the cue.
Oh, dude, yes I do. That's in there somewhere. That song is fucking perfect.
Yeah, that has to be another one of like that. That's like maybe number 2 on my top of Aretha songs.
Oh man, this is maybe one of my favorite songs of all time. So so that's about where we're at in her era, or the era we're visiting. In 1968, she released she released a couple top-selling albums, Lady Soul and Aretha Now, and some of the most popular hits and singles from those include Chain of Fools, Ain't No Way, Think is the shit. That's the one she sings in Blues Brothers, by the way, and Say a Little Prayer, which is fantastic. So that February of, what was it? We're at 69? 68. So in that February, Franklin earns the first of her 2 Grammys for...
She has a day dedicated to her, doesn't she?
That's right. She has like a Queen of Soul Day or something. But who dedicated that to her? Was it Martin Luther King? Someone of prominence dedicated to her a Soul Day.
Yeah.
But I don't.
It's in like February, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember. It's in my document somewhere, but I have no idea how this shit's organized.
So there is an Aretha Franklin Day out there.
Yep.
In February. Just so you know, you can say fuck work. She already died, so now it's a national holiday.
Yeah.
Call it a national holiday.
Oh, and you had brought up this earlier. Yeah, it just reminds me, since we're talking about national holidays, I don't know if we visited this in depth, that she had played for the Carter inauguration.
Jimmy Carter.
She played for the Clinton inauguration, and she played for the Obama inauguration. Pretty much all of the Democrats, right, in the past, like in her lifetime, practically.
Yeah.
And
the 3 Democrats that the minority, what is viewed as the minority in this country, benefited most from.
Exactly. Yeah.
So her being a big civil rights participator in the movement and being part of those inaugurations, says a lot about her character too.
Oh yeah, because she refused to play the Trump inauguration, and it shows she has principles. She's just not out there for the gig.
What's that shitty band that they got to play the inauguration?
Didn't they get like Eagle Eye Cherry, or Third Eye Blind, or like some non-draw from the 90s? So,
and then they got so much bad rep out of it, they kind of like started trashing the fucking inauguration online, but it's like, it's too late, man. You dug yourself that hole, and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty sad, man. If the best you can do is Third Eye Blind, they weren't even that big when they were big.
Was it Third Eye Blind?
It was someone like that, dude. I just can't remember who it was. I'll have to look it up.
Third Eye Blind.
Yeah, it's officially Third Eye Blind. Where that's canon. We're retconning it.
Right. Now, we said that she had 18 Grammys. Who else is up there with Grammys like that?
Definitely Michael, of course.
Correct, but let me see. Let me look this up real quick.
Oh, and then another thing while you're looking that up. So big friend to Whitney Houston's mom. She's the goddaughter. Oh no, honorary aunt. I'm sorry, of Whitney Houston, and she was good friends. Sissy Houston, Whitney's mom, was a background singer for Aretha Franklin. And according to,
she knew her as a young kid.
Yeah. Well, according to that David Ritz, the David Ritz biography, he says she really respected Whitney Houston, but at the same time, she really respected her talent, but at the same time did not like her as a person. That's supposedly rumored, and there's some credence to that because she didn't show up to the Whitney Houston funeral.
But
supposedly she was having a leg spasm, but this woman's not known for her honesty at all times.
Yeah, right. But maybe Maybe it isn't for the ill intentions people think, you know?
You're right. Maybe she was just too distraught to handle it. Three Doors Down was the band at the inauguration. Thank you, Mazzy. Thank you.
Three bullshit things, man.
we had like the right like era and the fact that there was a number in the name. Like, you know, we were getting there. We're getting close.
We got to the number, right? Three Doors Down. Wow, man. They only had 2 good songs. So.
Man, Three Doors Down is even worse than Third Eye Blind. That's even worse.
So to come back at it, Giorgi Solti won 31 Grammys as
who is that?
Director of the Chicago Symphony.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't count. No one goes home and pops on a symphony album unless it's like John Williams.
All right. Well, then number 2 is Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones is a prolific fucking...
daughter, Rashida Jones.
Oh, yeah, Rashida Jones is his daughter, and Rashida Jones is very exotic looking.
Ah, she's so fucking sexy.
I was so shocked when I found out that was his daughter, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. She's fucking... She's I don't know, I just find her sexy as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 27 Grammys.
I believe that one.
Among them, it's Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Yep, produced that one. Quincy Jones is an amazing producer. I don't want him to die or anything, but it would be great to when they do a show about Quincy Jones.
Well, he's 84, so we might be
we're getting there, sadly.
We got Alison Krauss with 27. Be honest with you, I have no fucking idea who he is. She's a country singer, I'm guessing.
Not in our wheelhouse.
Yeah. Grammy winners in the polka and the country division.
That doesn't count.
You know what? We're not gonna hit these philharmonics and any of this shit.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. Stevie Wonder. Okay.
There you go.
Stevie Wonder with 25 Grammys, and Stevie Wonder is one of my favorite artists of all time.
He's great. Dude, killer.
I love that man's music like crazy. Nobody knows who John Williams is. Oh,
I know who John Williams is.
Yeah, I do. I actually do know who John Williams is.
He does soundtrack shit. But you know what? Honestly, overrated.
But I give it to him.
For sure.
Fuck Beyonce, even though she's got 22 Grammys.
Damn. But that's all because of the Illuminati bullshit, dude. You know that.
Like, fuck that. We got U2, your favorite band, with
bastards. I want to give a U2 fact out there. It made it to a podcast episode that we never released, but my favorite U2 fact is the fact that they went through an ironic phase where they started wearing really ridiculous shit and going like, ooh, we're rock stars, we're so amazing. And
they wear the leather jackets.
Yeah. And then like it caught on so well that they just kept doing it and they never went back. It's like it started off as a joke and it's a joke that never ended. And then the joke became U2's like current persona. This makes me mad.
I'm not a U2 fan. That song Vertigo was popular when I was coming up.
Vertigo. Which one is that? That's U2?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I hate U2 so much. Every time I hear one of their songs, I want to turn it off. You got any other Grammy winners that are in her league?
We got Jay-Z with 21.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Kanye West with 21.
Makes sense.
Bruce Springsteen with 20.
Wow, so these are the people in her league, and it all makes sense. It all sounds about right.
Well, you know what? If we were to, Kanye and them, not really, right? That's like I shouldn't have said them because it really doesn't like count.
They don't have the same kind of talent, but they have a talent that's notable. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess what ties up with her would be Tony Bennett with 18 as well. Paul McCartney with 18.
Well, she's better. She's probably a better musician than like at least half of the people you named.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she deserves to have more. But Grammys are bullshit. I think they just throw a dart at a board with people's names on it and just choose them some years.
Well, it might be on the Grammys. There's a bunch of people who don't know shit that are allowed to vote, just like in our elections here.
Yeah. And music is such a subjective thing.
White men who have their own subjective views on shit.
Yeah. So, getting back to Aretha. Okay, look, 1976, she works on the soundtrack to Sparkle with Curtis Mayfield. Sparkle is is a movie about like a fictional like Supremes type group.
Yeah, no.
And then they remade that relatively recently, like in like what the 2000s.
Correct.
Let's see what else. Oh, okay. So there's something I want to talk about, which is that she changes with the times. She has this tendency to change with the times, like in the 80s, like the late 70s, early 80s. She starts to put out like disco and dancing style stuff, like stuff that's a little more, sign of the times, just stuff that goes with the current era. Some of it is pretty good. Some of it kind of feels a little like didn't age well, because I don't know why everyone in the 80s had to start having that sound. Like, she's already so amazing without that supplement. Okay, so her first platinum album comes from that era in '85. She does Who's Zoomin' Who. That's correct. Yeah, that's her first platinum album, which is pretty amazing. I think she's done better albums than that, but sure, this is her first platinum. Aretha Franklin's new metal album in the mid-aughts. I don't know if that's a joke or not, John, because she gets around. She gets around in genres and stuff. She's doing this crazy fucking slap bass with the corn guy.
Can you imagine this shit? Just heavy ass fucking new metal type shit?
I'd pay to see it. I know that. Okay, so let's see. One of her hits was Freeway of Love. That's a good one. That's a good... that encapsulates what I'm talking about. If you check out Freeway of Love, it's very 80s sounding. And then she also does like Jumping Jack Flash. She does a duet with George Michael that got really... it became a really big hit. Okay, so there's another thing I want to talk about really quick, which is that she has like 1 million honorary degrees. She has an honorary degree. Yeah, she has one from... You have to, right? Because it's like, you know what? People probably started offering them to her, and she was just like, oh, I'll take one. I'll take that one. I'll take them all. She has...
like Harvard, New York, Princeton, Yale, Berkeley.
Yep, everywhere. University of Pennsylvania. It's every little place. She has an honourary law doctorate from Bethune-Cookman. That's a joke. That's hilarious.
I was like, I understand like the honorary degrees, but then when I saw the doctor in law, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I get the music, the doctorates in music and everything. Okay, I get that. Like she has changed what music is.
Definitely, yeah.
What music was. These everybody we've talked about is they're all staples in what's formed and shaped our modern music era.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
But a doctorate in law?
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Well, it's honorary. Hopefully, she can't go around, suing people. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, well, definitely not anymore. So she's still putting out freaking. Oh, one more thing, like. She lost a lot of her family to cancer. Like, she lost sisters to cancer, and she had a brother who died, and so it just runs in the family. Depressing, very depressing. She actually outlived most of her family. She seems to be the toughest one. She's a fighter, that's for damn sure. I already mentioned the Whitney Houston thing. Oh yeah, she got into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame. I don't know that anyone cares about that, but she did. She was still putting out gospel music pretty much up until she died. One thing I want to mention is that she covered Adele's Rolling in the Deep, and she put the original to shame, if you ask me. She had Sissy Houston and like a whole bunch of really famous old school musicians playing that with her. It was on the David Letterman show, and she made... oh, dude, it's amazing. She made Adele look like a chump. But if you guys do yourself a favor and check out her covering Adele's Rolling in the Deep, because as always, she made it her own. She's really good at doing that. So,
is it safe to say she is the Queen of Soul?
Oh, without a doubt. That is her one non-honorary degree. She is certified Queen of Soul. It's sad we lost her, but she led a full life. She kind of seemed to know she was going. She put out kind of a farewell album. She knew she was on her way out. She knew about her cancer and was kind of hiding it for everyone, so she knew it was coming. And she got...
like the Bowie thing.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, exactly. It's fortunate for her because she got her time to say goodbye to everyone. She got her time to say goodbye to her fans and the public. She led a full life. She led an amazing life. She was pretty much a rock star, and I don't know. I'm enamored with her. I'll say that. She's quickly become one of my favorite artists.
Oh yeah, man, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. The more I read about her, the more I dive into her catalog. It's just. It's kind of like when Bowie died. I was more mad at myself that I never got into him as much as I should have.
Yeah.
And just playing song after song. Some songs that I had heard and I loved that I didn't even know were him.
Oh yeah.
You know? So
lots of that.
That's what happened with Aretha. Like, I mean, I grew up in a lot of like my friends' houses around here. A lot of them in black. So their grandmas, their aunts, and everything would be playing, you know, Aretha, the Supremes. Just everybody from that era. So it's a lot of music. You know, my mom was into disco and shit. So it's a lot of music that I knew, and like I liked, and I even know some of the lyrics. And then I'm going through her album, and I'm like, oh shit, this is her. So yeah, I got a lot more research to do on her.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know what? That's one more thing I'll say about her. She's one of those artists who she has such range. You know, you won't even know a song is hers until you look it up. She's got a lot of that going for her. She's a hero, man. I'm very, very sad we had to say goodbye to her, and everyone we've said goodbye to on our show. I mean,
yeah. This was it came in threes.
Yeah, death's come in threes.
That's 3 doors down, but that's all help her.
Yeah, very, very sad. Very, very sad day for those involved with music. Yeah, Elvis died 41 years before exactly to the day of Aretha.
Wow.
Yeah, KRS-One used to play that 60s stuff 10 years ago. Wait, 15 years ago. Yeah, now they're playing 80s stuff because they want me to feel old, and it's working.
Yeah, for real.
So you want to get to this segment where we play some music? We're gonna play some zittering. We're gonna play some zittering records for you today. That's
zittering records. It is.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna play T120. That's what I've been listening to.
Once again, we're at Tsunami Studios. Just hit us up for anything, you know.
Yeah, we're getting into distribution, and what we're trying to do is sign artists and make full use of that. So if anyone is so interested, let us know. This is something we're going to be distributing. This is an EP. There's an EP by Zittering Records. Check them out on SoundCloud. Okay, we're gonna critique this super heavily. Nah, actually, we're just gonna be giving some.
We'll be recording pretty soon as well.
Yes, true.
Live music recording. Being a drummer, I got a full kit and everything. So as soon as we get everything set up, we'll be in the market of we're just artists helping other artists. In other words, you know. Enough to pay for the shit to keep doing it and to keep producing content for everybody.
Oh, okay, so sorry, just a correction. This is Zittering Records is a distribution label. This is T120 or no EP Super Activity from 2018, I imagine. And this is NTSC. Just so sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
I have an entertainment with my other boys, an entertainment company, and we throw our annual Boozy Fest in October. So more details coming on that soon. It's PK Boys Entertainment LLC. I run the Instagram page, the PK Boys page, and actually Blunts just did a promo video. So
I saw that promo video. It looked pretty great.
Yeah. So it's out there. We'll put a link up to it for the PK Boys Inc. Entertainment based, you know, and it's an annual party. It's a beer and booze fest, man. That's just a little snippet of something else that we take care of. Live music, a bunch of weed, a bunch of beer. You know, it's just it's a fun ass fucking day. We call it a fest. So that's in part with this. Like I said, Tsunami Studios.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Tsunami Studios. Tsunami Studios is going to be the headline we're producing everything under.
Check our past project, Sea Serpent Tsunami, if you get the chance as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let us know what you think. That album is 8 tracks of a bunch of different type of sounds. So I'm pretty sure you'll find something you might vibe with in there.
Yep.
My personal favorite on that album is Dance Rude Boy. It's a song that's been around for about fucking 12 years, so 12 plus years, and we mastered it with all these fucking great musicians in the studio. So
yeah, we hired a really good engineer who did all the work for Peanuts, who was actually a really accomplished engineer who like basically did it as charity. It's mixed and mastered really, really well. It sounds professional. It sounds great.
Just an awesome guy, just a fantastic fucking musician himself. He's a drummer as well, Frank, and just a badass audio engineer himself. So,
and so if you want to hear your music on here, all you got to do is ask. If you want to request a musician and no one dies in the meantime, all you got to do is reach out to us and ask. We're really heavily looking for participation, so if anyone is out there who isn't one of our current fans, hit us up on Facebook, Death and Music. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up. We're going to set up an Instagram soon that automatically posts from the Facebook. So just hit us up. Oh, also Patreon. We have a Patreon. We're looking to get some funding to start setting up studio time and stuff like that. So yeah, just keep an eye out for us. Merch. I'm going to be setting up merch soon. Just the whole 9 yards. We're going to be really into this thing. So if anyone wants to help, if anyone wants to make suggestions, feedback, we're receptive to it all. So just, be around. That's all. If you like us, just be around.
And with that said, this was this week's Death and Music. I'm Ellie. This is Bobo.
Yep.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 2. Thanks for sticking around.